I'm María Lamprecht and I'm have a degree in biology and a doctorate in microbiology. I used to work as a scientist in the Center of Astrobiology, learning about adaptation mechanisms of extreme microorganisms. But because I have a passion in art, I decided to combine my scientific background with a new career in art. So I decided to study illustration in a degree in illustration and design, and I made a master's degree in animation and 3D with computer graphics academy and Trazos in Madrid. So I want to make an introduction in my science pathway. First of all, I start in the editorial field, doing the illustrations of the book Manual of Linternas, and I make like 15 watercolors to introduce each chapter of the book. Another book that I had illustrator, it was the La Vida, un viaje hacia la complejidad en el universo, that I have the pleasure to make like around 45 watercolor illustrations about several biology mechanisms. And another book that I have the pleasure to collaborate it was Estamos Solos, En Busca de Otras Vidas en el Cosmos. The writer was Carlos Briones, and I make like about 15 illustrations, digital illustrations, to introduce each chapter. Another big commission that I made was for the Astrobiology Center in Madrid, that I have to make like 20 panels to represent all the lines of the research lines in the Astrobiology Center, so we can make an outreach of the scientific research lines. So I made like 20 illustrations related with astrobiology. And here I want to show you as I work as a freelancer, I need to work in a lot of different fields. Like I work with medical illustrations, a lot of infographics. Even I make infographics for Congress and another like infographics for books and something like that. Because you never know, as a freelance, you have to accept a lot of different works. This is another example of one commission that I make for the Autonomous University, that I have to make this kind of spaceship for a plasma engine. And here I want to show you the kind of work that I'm focused right now, that I work in 3D and mostly in animation. And I make this kind of illustrations that are related with microbiology and with the field of molecular biology. Here I make this illustration. It was for a cover of one teacher in the University of Alicante. This is about the use of fakes in therapy against gonorrhea, the bacteria that it's instead of the use of antibiotics. And here is one illustration that you can see the virus SARS-CoV-2 that you can see that is entering the human membrane of one human cell. And here I represent the SARS-CoV-2, the SARS-CoV-2, and the immune system. And now this is animation that I want to show with that I want to share with you about all my animations that I have made. No, I use Cinema 4D because for this kind of animations is more easy to do in Cinema 4D. But I use Blender sometimes too. ¿Cómo va? ¿Cómo es tu trabajo? No, con lo de ahora. Con lo de la escultura.
Ya lo has visto. Ahora que ya sé cómo hacerlo, las clases para ver cómo hago que una cita.
Vale, luego al final de la clase vamos a hacer unas neuronas, ¿vale? Divertido. So first of all, I want to introduce the concept of molecular illustration. As I say at the beginning of the talk, we know during the pandemic the structure of the SARS-CoV-2 because it's starting to appear in everywhere, in the television, in all the news, and for make this image, the scientists and the illustrator work together to try to put all the data, the scientific data all together and combine with drawing and illustration to make this structure and this illustration that nowadays is everywhere and can and allows us to understand better how it is the SARS-CoV-2. So what is molecular illustration? is a field that is very related with biomedical illustration, and is related with concepts like cellular biology, microbiology, or molecular biology. These illustrations are based in computational graphics. This means that all these data that are coming from several scientific studies can be recreated, the 3D shape of the proteins and genetic material in a scientific accurate way. This kind of illustration represents microorganisms, cells, and organelles through illustration, and it's combined with these computational graphics. Another feature of this molecular illustration is that despite complex composition that allows to represent several concepts of biomedicine as microorganisms structures or infection pathways or signal pathways. And for others, and besides this, it's very necessary the use of software tools like 3D programs as Blender, Cinema 4D, animation programs, or virtual reality. Here I show you some images that represent this kind of illustration. And as you can see, these structures over here is the representation of computational graphics. These structures are very accurate, so they are made using scientific databases. So we are generating these 3D structures that are that you can find in the nature, and they are combining with illustration drawings. Like this is making with a 3D program, but is modeled for an illustrator, and this is the accurate 3D structures that are making with several softwares. So this is real. This is real. This is in the nature. So one of the main things that it's that we are combining the science and the art to make this kind of illustrations. Here I want to show you one image that for me is one of the more accurate image of a human cell, and this is a very nice example of what it is, the molecular illustration. This illustration was created by cell signaling technology and is inspired in the style of the scientific illustrator David Gutsel. I'm going to talk later about this illustrator. This image is generated by different softwares that are using several scientific data like X-rays, nuclear magnetic resonance data, or even electronic microscopy to recreate these realistic molecular elements. So as you can see, all these little elements are real proteins that are in fact in the natural cells. So this is a magnificent work. because you have to, all the illustration and scientists are working together to make this accurate and scientific correct image. And this, you can see this is the nucleus, this is the membrane, this is all the structures of the cell. And now I want to make an introduction of different illustrators that are very famous in the scientific illustration field. One is Berry, that is born. He was born in 1970. He's a biomedical animator and in the Walter and Lisa Hall Institute of Medical Research in Melbourne. He has a biology degree and a doctorate. He makes a lot of molecular illustrations. And he's very well recognized in this field. But one of the things that for me is very funny is that he make other no scientific collaborations. Like he worked with Björk in the Biophilia Live show, making this kind of illustrations that combine the artistic part, but to the scientific part too. And another collaboration, it was with Harold Bermus, making a concert that it was the name was Jeans and Jazz. And during this concert, you can see images of his work. Another very famous illustrator is David S. Gutsel. He is very well known in this scientific illustration field. He studied biology and studied the DNA structure during his PhD, and now currently is working with HIV. And he also, besides he's a researcher, he works as scientific illustrator. And he also developed several softwares to make visualization of proteins. As you can see here, this is made it with the software that he already created. He produced this kind of illustration that combine like very all this computer graphic data, very accurate, but with this beautiful render in watercolor. He makes all his work in watercolor, and he makes these beautiful compositions using a very nice color. So these illustrations are very beautiful, but at the same time is very accurate. So it's very useful to understand the structure of the virus. So you can see that the real nature and the forms of this virus. Another illustrator that is very famous is David Bolinsky. He is a medical illustrator with a biology degree at Ohio State University. And he co-founded the company Ex Vivo. This Ex Vivo company is very famous. And I'm going to show you one of one very famous animation that is kind of old, like it is made in the 19th, but I think it still have a lot of powerful imaginary.